Testing for thyroid. Now, the thyroid gland is a little gland that sits in the neck around the voice box. Typically, one would express thyroid dysfunction in the form of either underactive, which is called hypothyroidism, or overactive, which is called hyperthyroidism, or they may affect antibodies where the thyroid then leads to thyroid disease, which is possibly Hashimoto's or Graves' or thyroiditis, etc. So hypothyroidism actually occurs when the thyroid gland produces too little thyroid hormone, when there is a decreased conversion of your active thyroid hormone, which is from T4 to T3. T3 is the active thyroid. Or when there's an overproduction of another hormone called reverse T3. And that often causes T3 association imbalances, leads to Wilson's syndrome. So to diagnose thyroid dysfunction, the first thing we'd need to do is remember the thyroid is really intimately related to the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid, correlates really well with the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal. So if there's a thyroid dysfunction, there's a likelihood that there may be an adrenal dysfunction. So it is important to examine the adrenal function as well, which is your 4-point cortisol with DHEA. To examine the thyroid, possibly the most comprehensive test would be the thyroid profile extensive, which identifies a hormone called thyroid stimulating hormone, which is released from the thyroid gland, TSH. TSH is possibly the most common thyroid hormone that is measured through the Medicare system. In conjunction with that, one would measure the amount of T4 and T3. Now, T4 is predominantly inactive. It needs to be activated by specific cofactors like iodine, selenium, tyrosine, and possibly zinc as well, to an active form of T3. If stress levels are really high, that conversion from T4 to T3 is blocked, and T4 then converts to reverse T3. So identifying TSH, T3, T4, reverse T3 together with thyroperoxidase antibodies, antithyroglobulin antibodies, and TSH receptor antibodies can be measured in a blood sample. That is probably the most comprehensive. But you might also want to examine just T3, reverse T3 on its own, or you might measure this in a blood spot. For example, TSH, T3, T4, and TPO antibodies can be measured in a blood spot. But the urine cofactors, such as your tyrosine, iodine, and selenium, that are necessary for conversion of T4 to T3, this can be measured in a urine sample. Now, iodine is very, very important to activate thyroid function. Iodine, together with other halides such as bromine, selenium, and arsenic, can be measured in a urine sample. Iodine can also be measured on its own, so that's a random iodine test, so that identifies how much iodine is actually in the body. But you can challenge the body by giving in the test kit itself, you can give a patient a specific amount of iodine that is contained within the test kit, and then we can examine how that iodine is excreted over a period of time. Now, that excretion rate, generally within a 24-hour period, we expect to see about 90% of that iodine excreted. So a ratio of the amount of iodine that is in the body and the ratio of iodine that is excreted will give you an indication of how that iodine is actually utilized in the body. If most of it is excreted, then the iodine is sufficient. If only a small amount of it is excreted, that means the body's taking up that iodine exogenously into the body. So, of course, iodine can be measured, or rather thyroid can be measured in a number of ways. So to determine which test is right for you, please speak with your healthcare professional, or you may want to contact us to order a test or have your test results interpreted, or seek guidance on your health condition. To learn more, check out our Learning Center for in-depth education on this very topic. Thank you.